sick.
There is no terrible way to win. There is only winning.
We won't be out long.
Take your time. Track's all yours.
You ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready. Hit it. Attaboy.
Let me drive. I won't make a fool out of you.
I got a message for all of them. Shake and bake.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
That just happened.
These cars, you sit in a box, a coffin, gasoline all around you. It is like being inside a bomb.
It's tough enough being a girl on the track. Living in my dad's shadow doesn't help much.
You have to be kind to the car. You feel the poor thing groaning underneath you.
No race was ever won in the first corner.
I'm gonna give you an engine low to the ground, extra big oil pan that'll cut the wind from underneath you. That'll give you 30 to 40 more horsepower.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You do it because you're driven.
Brakes are warm. Tires are warm.
I'll work in the cars and I'll drive and I'll eat and sleep and I'll work in the cars and I'll drive.
Damn fast, and when we run so close together, it requires fantastic concentration and rather special skills.
I was beginning to think I'd never be anything more than a piston-happy lead-foot punk. Then this starts to happen.
If you're going to push a piece of machinery to the limit and expect it to hold together, you have to have some sense of where that limit is.
Besides, the best drivers don't dwell on the future or the past. The best drivers focus only on the present.
They could never have imagined it. Those pioneers who invented the automobile, that it would possess us like this in our imaginations, our dreams.
I'm gonna give you a fuel line that will hold an extra gallon of gas. I'm gonna shave half an inch off you and shape you like a bullet.
Somebody put it in your mind you gotta be perfect every time out or you're a failure. Well, forget that. Just forget it.
Racing is in my blood.
I was put on this earth to race cars.
I accept every time I get in my car. There's 20% chance I could die, and I can live with it, but not 1% more.
No, Nicky, don't bring the percentages into this. Don't be a pro. The minute you do that, you kill what's good about this. You kill the sport.
And at that speed, your reactions can barely keep up with these sudden changes in direction.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up?
You want me to work the pit and you drive? Fine, we'll try that.
The car's a living, breathing thing, and she's alive.
If any of us imagined, really imagined, what it would be like to go into a tree at 150 miles an hour, we would probably never get into the cars at all. None of us.
Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
I am just as good as anybody out there on that track, and I don't need anybody to win my races for me.
I wish my daddy were alive to see this, to feel this.
And when we get you primed, painted, and weighed, you'll be ready to go out on that racetrack. You hear me? You're gonna be perfect.
You don't understand what happens, do you? They make 10,000 cars, they make them exactly the same way, and one or two of them turn out to be something special. Nobody knows why.
When I won it was probably the last time I ever felt pure victory.
So it has always seemed to me that to do something very dangerous requires a certain absence of imagination.
Because I'm quicker than all of you.
Soon you will know what it is like to be defeated by the hands of somebody who is truly better than you.
The only thing to do here is to drive just as fast as you know how and hope your car doesn't break.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
If you ain't first, you're last. There's 40 other vultures out there who managed to finish the race on their tires. You see Darrell Waltrip using up his tires?
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
I mean, hell, isn't that what we're in this for? To stare death in the face and to cheat it? Come on, there's nobility in that. It's like being knights.
Sometimes you could swear the whole thing's falling to bits.
No pressure, nobody breathing down my back, just driving because I left it pure.
On the other hand, I suppose potential problems are in the back of your mind all the time.
So in many ways, I feel responsible for what happened. And
You were, but trust me, watching you win those races while I was fighting for my life, you were equally responsible for getting me back in the car.
You're so lucky. You sit there all closed in by machinery and bolts, precise things. There's hardly any room for you. It must be a nice, safe feeling.
You gotta learn to trust something. Might just as well be the seat of your pants.
A lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Well, we can drive. We can drive beyond the limits of the tires, the engine, the car, anything else.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes. Every gear change, every corner. Perfect. You see it.
I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But it isn't just business, is it?
what we do. It's passion, love, which is why we are prepared to risk our lives for it.
Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Win or lose, put up or shut up.
Why does everybody keep telling me what my problem is?
That you get so emotional.
You would never, ever say that to a guy.
If you don't leave your feelings off the track, you're never going to get what you want.
I'm a race driver, and I can win it on my own. Please let me race.
Fine. Then let's race.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith, and today we are taking on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the first time in the Grand Prix World Series, and this is set to be an absolute thriller. We've already seen just how close this championship can be so far in the two races we've had this season, the first round at Jacarapagua and the second round at Buenos Aires. Today, we head to the United States of America for the Indianapolis Grand Prix. As ever, we will be starting off with League 2 and heading into today's action. Alex Palou of Ram Racing heads the driver's standings on 45 points, 15 ahead of Ryo Hirakawa already. Palou building himself up a championship lead after the first two rounds. Still plenty of races left to decide this championship, but it's been a fantastic start so far for the Spanish driver. Nick de Vries, our winner first time out in Jacarapagua, is third in standings on 25, ahead of the dome of Nick Cassidy with 18. Willpower also on 18 points in the Prema, ahead of Ritomo Miata, who has put both domes into the top 6 in the standings so far. Kimi Antonelli of Scuderia Coloni is 7th, along with Robin Freins, Mike Conway and Colton Herta rounding out the top 10 in the League 2 driver standings. Looking at the teams, Ram Racing leads the way on 46 points, 45 of those coming from Palou, and the extra one coming from Matt Campbell's pole position last time out in Buenos Aires. Dome second on 32 points, ahead of Carlin on 31. Andretti still hasn't added any more points to De Vries' win in Jacarapagua, but they will surely be looking to add some more points to that tally. Proma Racing 5th on 20, ahead of Zach Speed on 18. Scuderia Coloni on 16. Real on 8. Dams on 7. Surtees on 2. That is the top 10 in League 2. In 11th, Tolman has a single point to his name, while LaRousse and Forti Corsi yet to get off the mark this season. That could potentially all change today, though, as they look to get themselves off and running in this championship. Before we bring you the grid for today's League 2 race, just one driver change to make a note of, and that is at the Andretti Autosport team headed up by Linus O'Howell. Jake Dennis disqualified and banned after his incident in Buenos Aires where he took Luke Browning out of the race. He was disqualified from the race and he has been banned for today's action. Linus Lundqvist will step in for him to make his Grand Prix World Series debut, and we'll keep an eye to see how he gets on. Can he make an impression on the team manager and work his way into a full-time seat? That is for Linus O'Howell to decide once he has seen how he gets on today. And now it's time to have a look at the grid for today's League 2 race. We've had two Rams on pole position in the first two races. Did they make it a hat-trick? No, they did not. Ritomo Miata takes his first ever Grand Prix World Series pole position for Dome, less than half a tenth of a second ahead of Ryo Hirakawa and championship leader Alex Palou, with Nick de Vries and Callum Eilert also within a tenth of Miata's pole position time. It's so close so far in qualifying this season, and that just shows how close and competitive this championship can be. Sixth place goes to Kimi Antonelli in a Scuderia Coloni ahead of Matt Campbell. Linus Lundqvist on debut will go from 8th on the grid, ahead of Colton Herta at his home race, and Luke Browning rounding out the top 10 in the Forti Corsi, looking to get him and his team off the mark in terms of points this season. Nick Cassidy in the second Dome heads up the second half of the table, 11th for him, ahead of Tomoki Najiri in the Prema. Stoffel Van Dorn and Robin Freins together on the grid in Zach Speeds, ahead of Abby Pulling and Jess Hawkins, an all-female row there. Zach O'Sullivan 17th in the second 40-40, then Pato O'Ward in the Dams, Mike Conway and Matteo Caroli 20th on the grid today. Dennis Hauger will go from 21st ahead of Sarah Moore, Kushmini 23rd ahead of Jamie Chadwick, Will Power and Bruno Senna once again picking up the pieces at the back of the grid, but all cars within 0.7 of a second of each other. It can't really get much closer than that when it comes to qualifying. But how will this translate into race pace? Can Rotama Miata take his first ever Grand Prix World Series victory today? There is only one way to find out. We're going to head down to trackside where our commentator Tom Cairns is ready and waiting to take you through the action.
Rotama Miata, in his third Grand Prix appearance, is on pole, ahead of his compatriot Ryo Hirakawa. Can either of them pick up their first Grand Prix World Series victory today? The 5 lights are coming on now. Lights on. Lights off. The Dome and the Carlin move off the line. What about Nick de Vries, who's just tussling with Kimi Antonelli further behind? But back at the front, we're looking at Miata and Hirakawa are going to go side by side into turn 1 together. And it looks like the Carlin driver is on the inside of the Dome, and Ryo Hirakawa takes the lead as there is contact behind involving Nick Cassidy, who's come together with what looks like Matt Campbell. So Cassidy, who came very close to victory last time out at Buenos Aires, is only got as far as the first turn here. Now who did he come to? Actually, he touched the Dams and he touched what looks like Alex Palou actually, so I got my driver wrong there. It's the other Ram of Alex Palou who very nearly got taken out. He got pushed onto the grass there. We're looking further behind. Colton Hertz, I think, was the one who came together with the Dome of Cassidy. In fact, he moves across. So will the stewards perceive as though Hertz moved across in the braking zone on the Dome? We'll wait to see what the stewards say. But either way, Cassidy's race is over after one corner. And that's not going to please David Yomp one bit, the team manager of Dome. And one of Phil Kinch's drivers of the Dam squad may have the book thrown at him for the contact. Now, Colton Hertz has competed in every race since he made his debut in the Grand Prix World Series at the season opener of Sepang in Season 3. And Ryo Hirakawa in the lead then, ahead of Rotama Miata. And Colton Hertz is disqualified and banned for the next round of the championship. Now, the next round after Indianapolis, with the calendar as it is in Toronto, Canada. So Colton Hertz's home race has not got off to the best of starts. So he's got what it all to do from here. He'll keep going for now in case the team manager of the Dam squad, Phil Kinch, decides to appeal the decision. But for now, Hertz is out of this race and out of the next one in Toronto in a couple of weeks from now. So Ryo Hirakawa leads, Rotama Miata second, Nick de Vries up to third place for Andretti, Kimi Antonelli is fourth, next Colton Hertz fifth, Matt Campbell sixth, Matteo Caroli seventh, Tomoki Nijiri eighth for Prema, ninth is Callum Ilott in the second Carlin, and in 10th position is the 40 of Luke Browning. And behind Browning we've got the Andretti of Linus Lundqvist, who's in place of the suspended Jake Dennis. There's another couple of drivers making their debut, but not in League 2, that's in League 1 later, as Nijiri gets up the inside of Matteo Caroli, and that's enough to put the Prema up into P7 on the second lap here. Further back, we're looking at Will Power, who is behind the Dams of Pato O'Ward, who has yet to score a point this season so far after 2 races. Now, the drivers are using the configuration of Indianapolis that was used for Formula 1 back from 2000 to 2007. Formula 1 hasn't been back here since. I wonder when they might, though. And we look at Ilott on the inside of Caroli. Caroli's beginning to drop back here. He's down to 9th position as Ilott goes through. And there's your leader, Ryo Hirakawa, the McLaren protege, the 14-year-old McLaren protege, leads at Indianapolis in the League 2 race. twice a podium finisher from 2 races. Victory today could put him into the lead of the Drivers' Championship. What a season Perry Brown has had already. And I believe they've already exceeded their points tally from last season, and that's only after 2 races. Could Carlin be in the fray for promotion this season? It's a 55 lap race. The laps will come down fast here. It is a fast racetrack here in Indianapolis, unsurprisingly. Home to the famous Indy 500 race that is held annually. We just had one recently where Joseph Newgarden won this year's one, becoming the first driver in 22 years to win back-to-back Indy 500 races. And there's Callum Ilott up the inside of Tom McKinnon-Jury. Now, unfortunately for Callum Ilott, he didn't get very far, I don't think, in the Indy 500. He's going well here in the Carlin, having his best race for a while. And there's Alex Palou after the contact with Nick Cassidy on the opening lap through no fault of his own. He's down in 16th place. Alex Palou came into this one as the championship leader. He's going to do well to keep hold of that. As we look at Browning, who gets ahead of Corelli now. So, after, well, in the space of 3 laps, Corelli's lost 3 positions. And next behind him is the Swede Linus Lundqvist. I wonder if Corelli's on a heavier fuel load compared to the others. As we're watching the jury here, and he was able to move in front of Antonelli, who has dropped back from where he was earlier. He was in the top 4 at one point, and now he's dropping down the order. He's in 8th position, is the Italian. And Lundqvist has got in front of Corelli now into 10th place, and Corelli dropping out of the points. His teammate Abby Pullen is outside the top 15. She's running in 18th position. Now we're looking at Jess Hawkins in the Surtees, who's had a reasonable start to the season with her points finish in Brazil. She only completed 2 laps though in the next one in Argentina. And there goes Van Dorn on Corelli now. Corelli's really struggling in these early stages. He must be on a one-stopper here. Otherwise he wouldn't be overtaken as easily as he has been so far. Hirakawa leads. Miata second. And it's DeFries, Herter, Campbell, Ilott, Najiri, Browning, Antonelli and Lundqvist. And now we watch the debutant going for a move on the young Mercedes protege and Formula 2 driver Kimi Antonelli, and we are seeing overtakes left, right and centre. This is brilliant to see. A great advertisement for the Grand Prix World Series and for the Retro Racing Managers League. And because there were so many overtakes, it was very difficult for me to spot who was overtaking who. But I can tell you that Lundqvist is ahead of Antonelli. Freins is in front of Corelli, and I think Miney is in front of Hauger now. I think he must be, yes. So Miney in front of Hauger, and I think Alex Palou has moved in front of Jess Hawkins into 16th position. The upgrade window opens for the team managers after this round. First opportunity to upgrade the cars. Be interesting to see how it impacts them from Toronto onwards. Hirakawa is still leading, but he's not exactly pulling away from Miata. He's able to keep the gap to less than a second as they cross over the line to complete lap 6. Hirakawa's gap is still 6/10 over his compatriot. Nick DeFries, the race winner in Brazil, keeping up with them. And Antonelli, we're watching. He must have Robin Freins alongside him in a moment. Freins is up the inside of Antonelli into the first turn. He is. And that's enough for the Dutchman to go through into P11. So Antonelli, like Corelli, dropping down the order, seemingly because he's carrying more fuel. And now we watch Dennis Hauger behind Alex Palou, who's got in front of the Norwegian. Now Alex Palou, who's twice an IndyCar champion. I think he's just say victory at the Indy 500. The last two have been won by Joseph Newgarden. Marcus Ericsson won in 2022. It's Hideki Neves in 21. Sarto won in 2020. The 2019 race was won by Simon Pagenaud. In 2018 was Will Power. So yes, Alex Palou is yet to win the Indy 500. He'll have plenty of chances to do so. In his long career in IndyCar. And we see an overtake. Who's that that's just going through? That was Kush Miney getting through on Matteo Caroli for 13th. That's another position lost there for the Italian. I don't know how long you need for a pit stop round here. But given how quickly the race is going so far, we won't be too far away from them. There's Dennis Hauger in 17th position. Tolman with just 1 point so far this season, which Bruno Senna got in Brazil. Right on board with Matt Campbell, pole sitter in Argentina, which is the reason why he's only got 1 point so far. He's failed to finish in both races in season 4. With Palou further down the order, he's got to hope that he can salvage something strong from this race. Callum Ilott is having a race to remember so far because he's gone up into 5th place. While I say that, he's had a spin at turn 1. Did he carry too much speed into the corner? It looks like he did. And all that hard work has gone to waste for Callum Ilott. Yeah, I think he snapped a brake and the rear's locked and he just spun the car around and he's going to have to wait for the whole field to get through before he can rejoin. And that's a shame because he had the best race in a long time. Or he was having the best race for a long time. And now he's going to spin the car around and fall to the back again. I suppose the saving grace for him is that no one was around him when he was spinning the car back around. This is the 9th lap of the race. As we watch Nijiri get through on Campbell now, and that's enough for him to go up into 5th place. Browning up to 7th, Lundqvist 8th, Van Dorn 9th, and Friends 10th. Both of the sack speeds in the points. Abby Pullin is up to 14th now after her overtake on Matteo Caroli. The two LaRousse cars swapping places. We're on lap 10 now as we watch Luke Browning go for it on Matt Campbell. And this is turn number 1 that they are about to go through here. Browning on the inside, and that's a good enough pass to go through into 6th position. Conway is just about to make a move on the Surtees of Sarah Moore as they approach turn 1 together. Just as one retirement so far. Nick Cassidy out after contact with Colton Herter. Herter is disqualified and banned for the next race, which is subject to appeal. Watch Abby Pullin close in behind Kimi Antonelli, who had just been overtaken by Alex Palou. Now we are watching. It looks like Nick de Vries coming over the line in 3rd position. And I was going to say the reserve driver at Dams is Danny Junkendaya, who previously raced for Arrows last season. He would be a solid replacement for Herter, should Herter's ban stand. And now we are looking at Abby pulling on the inside of Kimi Antonelli for 13th place. So she is through, ahead of Antonelli and Hawkins. Back straight. We're still seeing overtakes happening there as we look at Hawkins, who thought about a move, and further behind we are seeing Sacco Sullivan make an overtake on Matteo Caroli to go up into 16th place. I wonder how many drivers are doing the one stop in this and who is doing the two. Well, I think the ones at the front who are going well, I think you can say are going to be doing the two. The likes of Kimi Antonelli and Matteo Caroli are probably doing the one. But it's how much time you need for a pit stop and being able to come back out in some clean air. There's Hawkins going for it again on Kimi Antonelli. And the Brit is up the inside and Jess Hawkins goes for the overtake and he's through and up into 14th position. She's having a strong race so far. Is the Aston Martin development driver and ambassador of the squad. There's Will Power, 2018 Indy 500 winner, 2022 IndyCar champion, behind Pato O'Ward, who's gone in for his first IndyCar championship, came very close to being victorious in the Indy 500 recently. Had to make do with finishing second. This race is going quite fast so far, which is good to see. Look at Ritomo Miyata in second place behind Hirakawa, who still leads. And now we look at Mike Conway, who's having to defend from the Surtees of Sarah Moore, who's also got Bruno Senna right behind. Seen a few more overtakes happening. Well, I can tell you that Robin Fines isn't going to be overtaking anyone, and that's Alex Palou off the circuit again. Fines is out of the race. Palou in the gravel trap has lost even more time. Now, what will the stewards say on this one? Because yeah, I think Palou just took a wrong turn, to be honest with you. So I think that will go down as a racing incident. Fines' race doesn't go any further. Palou's race gets even worse. And the championship leader's gone with it all to do from here. Yeah, I think Palou just took a wrong turn on that one. It went the wrong way to avoid Fines. And there was just no room in the gravel trap for him to get through and out of very, very quickly. So at least he's back on the circuit now. He needs to watch that Callum Ilott. Oh, that's dangerous though. That was very nearly a collision between him and the Carlin. Now, they didn't make contact. Oh dear, that's dangerous from Palou, unfortunately. No further action is taken in the incident between Fines and Palou. But what are the stewards going to make of the one with Palou and Ilott? It's a 5-second time penalty for Alex Palou for the unsafe rejoin. And I don't think you can complain about that either. Right on board. I think this is Sarah Moore, who's got Bruno Senna right behind. Now, did Senna go through just before turn 11? We'll wait to see and find out what's happening. I wonder if Sarah may be encountering a problem in that Surtees. Hopefully not. We'll look at the battle for 14 between Kimi Antonelli and Jamie Chadwick. Jamie Chadwick, who achieved her first podium in Indy NXT recently. So congratulations to her. She hopes to build on that in the Grand Prix World Series at the moment. No points yet, but her success will come eventually. Senna remained behind Moore, in case you were wondering. Callum is catching up to those, as is Alex below. No pit stops yet. Approaching the end of lap 14. It's still Rio Hirakawa leading the way from the beginning as Antonelli runs wide. He's lost another position, this time to the LaRousse of Matteo Caroli. And the first pit stop has arrived at the end of lap 14. It's Tomi Kinijiri who is in, as is Stoffel van Dorn and Linus Lundqvist. So 3 cars in the pits at the end of lap 14. Made that 4 because Sacco Sullivan has made his way in. Make that 5 now, because Bruno Senna has come in from the back. And I don't know whether Isla or Pelé will do the same, to be honest with you. Don't know for certain how much time you need for a pit stop. We go on board with Dennis Hauger. E14 right now. Dennis Hauger has had a successful junior career so far. Italian F4 champion. I think that was all the way back in 2018 or something like that, or 17. It was around that time anyway. Made his F3 debut in 2020. And before being crowned champion with Prema in 2021. He's been in F2 since. Just remind he's coming into the pits for your information, as is Nick de Vries from 3rd place. And I can say that de Vries has done his stop, so we'll have an idea as to how much time you need for a pit stop here. Now, Nick de Vries was on about 1.5 seconds behind Hirakawa, so we can use that as a reference point. So watch the top 2 go through turns 9 and 10. And Nick de Vries is 13.5 seconds behind. So I would say you need about 29 or 30 seconds for a pit stop. The good news for de Vries has got a bit of clean track, or clean air, and a clear track behind Sarah Moore before he catches up to her. How do Hirakawa and Miyata react? Well, neither of them have carried on. Hertz has come into the pits from 3rd place. Allows Luke Browning and Matt Campbell to go through. Abby Pullin stays out there, as does Jess Hawkins, Jamie Chadwick as well. Dennis Hauger makes his way into the pits, as does Mike Conway and Sarah Moore. That releases Nick de Vries. Look at the 40 of Luke Browning in 3rd place, ahead of Matt Campbell. He's had a relatively clean race so far. Abby Pullin's done well to keep herself out of trouble, as has Jess Hawkins and Jamie Chadwick. We expect Matteo Caroli and Kimi Antonelli to be doing the 1 stop here. So don't assume that at this point the rest are going to be doing 1 stops. That's not the case at all. I'd say give it another 3 laps and then we'll know who's doing the 1 stops. Well, Hirakawa and Miyata have stayed out. What about Luke Browning? Has he carried on his way? He has. Matt Campbell has also carried on. I'll be pulling Jess Hawkins. Jamie Chadwick, I think, will carry on for another lap. No, Chadwick is in the pits at the end of lap 17. You can see Callum Ilott making up, or trying to make up for lost time. He's stuck behind Mike Conway. He's been in for a stop as Ilott. Now, the leaders have got to make a decision as to when they're going to be pitting in. Although having said that, de Vries isn't exactly making up as much ground as I thought he would do. look at Pato O'Ward, who has made a stop. He's about to get an overtake done on Sarah Moore, who I think got the jump on him in the pit stops, but O'Ward is able to overtake her on circuit. Miata comes into the pits from second place in the Dome, chasing his first Grand Prix World Series victory in only his third outing in this series. Luke Browning in third place also comes in, as does Matt Campbell. And what about Abby Pullen and Jess Hawkins? Are those two going to stay out there as well? Pullen stays out. Hawkins comes into the pits. And now we look at Bruno Senna and Callum Euler and Mike Conway getting through on Dennis Hauger, because Hauger is carrying a problem and his race has come to a close. And it's going to be 2 non-finishes from 3 races in his career so far in the Grand Prix World Series for Dennis Hauger. He is out of the race in the Tolman, and a throttle problem is the cause. Hirakawa remains out there. Miata has rejoined behind Nick De Vries, so De Vries was able to get the jump on him in the first round of pit stops. Dennis Hauger becomes the 3rd driver out of this race, along with Robin Frines and Nick Cassidy. There's pit lane activity down in the Carlin garage as Ryo Hirakawa comes in from the race lead. This is an important stop. Is Abby Pullen going to go into the lead here, or is she going to stay out there? She's going to go into the lead as Abby Pullen. So for the first time in her Grand Prix World Series career, Abby Pullen is going to lead a Grand Prix World Series race. That's one to put on your CV. And now we're looking at Hirakawa. Is he ahead of De Vries? Side by side into turn 1. De Vries has got him. De Vries gets ahead of the Carlin. But don't expect that to be the end of the war, because De Vries may have won that battle, but the war rages on between him, Hirakawa and Miata for the race win. In the meantime, Abby Pullen for LaRousse leads a LaRousse 1-2 ahead of Matteo Corelli and Kimi Antonelli in 3rd place in the Coloni. Now, what is Hirakawa going to do in response here? He'll be on fresher tyres than De Vries, but only by a few laps or so. There's Corelli behind his teammate Pullen, who's doing a tremendous job in this race so far. But for how much longer is Pullen going to remain in the lead? Just for 1 lap. But she's done very well. Pullen comes in at the end of lap number 20. Corelli will take over leadership for now. He is expected to be on the 1 stop, as is Antonelli. Alex Palou also coming in for his first stop. It's been a very rocky race so far for the Spaniard. De Vries is in 3rd place still behind Antonelli, but he's ahead of the 2 drivers of which he's been battling with since the start. And there's a pull-in for Matteo Corelli from the race lead. We are not going to see whether the 1-stop was going to work for him. A puncher has put him out. A huge shame there for team manager Chris Hosey. Matteo Corelli retires from the race. Very, very unlucky. And that gives the lead over to Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli takes over the lead for the first time in his Grand Prix World Series career. In only his 3rd race. And now we watch Miata, who's going for it now on Hirakawa. He's pulled out the slipstream here, and this could be an overtake done here for the Dome driver. Miata up the inside of the Carlin. Miata through into 3rd place on track, which is a net 2nd. And now he can go after race leader, or the net race leader, Nick De Vries. He will be stopped behind Kimi Antonelli in a moment. Colton Hertz is holding 5th place at the moment, ahead of Luke Browning. And then we've got Linus Lundqvist, Matt Campbell, Stoffel Van Dorn and Tomoki Nijiri in the top 10. Colton Hertz will be disqualified from the race for taking out Nick Cassidy at the start and will also be banned for the next round in Toronto. And Alex Palou has picked up a 5-second time penalty for rejoining unsafely into the path of Callum Ilott. We watch Nick de Vries. He's ahead of Ritomo Miata, and we could see another change here. As Miata, who is behind Hirakawa a lap ago, is about to overtake Nick de Vries, and that is a splendid overtake from Miata to do what he did on the previous lap, to go back what could be the net race lead. This race very much has come alive, hasn't it? Well, to be honest, it has done since the start. What a race we have had so far. It's been splendid. Now Miata has got Antonelli in the way. No blue flags are involved in this. This is a genuine battle for position. Well, Miata, I think, should pull out the slipstream here and go through. He is going through. What about Hirakawa on de Vries? He's ahead of him as well. De Vries is not having a good lap by his standards and is being overtaken by Miata and Hirakawa. So the order has changed a lot in the space of the last minute. Miata ahead of Antonelli, ahead of Hirakawa, ahead of de Vries. And we watch the Coloni there, and what a move that is from Kushmani. We don't see anyone overtake there, but I think Jess Hawkins has picked up an issue, otherwise she wouldn't be going as slow as she has been doing, so that could be her coming into the pits at the end of the lap. As we see Hirakawa getting by Kimi Antonelli for 2nd place. He's the next to go through. Jess Hawkins is coming into the pits with an issue, which is a huge shame because she had a golden chance of scoring some points again. It's a move from Jamie Chadwick on Zach O'Sullivan for 13th position. De Vries getting by Antonelli. I don't think it'll be too long before we see Colton Hertz get through as well. Hirakawa locking up on the exit of turns 9 and 10 there. That won't help the Carlin one bit. And, oh, there's a problem there. There's a car slowing. Who's that slowing down? It's Miata! Ritomo Miata, who was in the race lead, has slowed down! The Doe is out of the race! After being in the lead for a short while, he had been on pole, looking good in contention for a race win. That elusive maiden victory is going to have to wait for a couple more weeks. Ritomo Miata is out of the lead to Indianapolis Grand Prix. What a shock! We have yet another change of lead because Ryo Hirakawa has gone into the lead now. Nick de Vries is 2nd and Kimi Antonelli is in 3rd place ahead of Colton Hertz. Although not for long, because Hertz is up the inside of Antonelli into turn number 8. Now, I wonder if Hertz, if he does finish on the podium, will Phil Kinch decide to appeal the decision to overturn the disqualification? I can tell you that Linus Lundqvist is having a brilliant race as well. He's just ahead of Matt Campbell in the fight for 6th place. "25 laps in, we're approaching the halfway point in the event here at Indianapolis." What a race we have had so far. It's Indianapolis' first race in the Grand Prix World Series. And it certainly has put on a show. It certainly has put on the spectacle that we were all hoping for. And I can say that Jamie Chadwick in the Real is next to slow down. And that is a huge shame for the 3-time W Series champion. And Jamie Chadwick for the second time this season, is going to be pulling to the side, and her race is over. And it looks like a puncher there for Chadwick. And her race is finished right there and then. The reliability really is starting to take its toll on these drivers. Matt Campbell did get in front of Linus Lundqvist, for your information. He's into 6th place now. Alex Palou is in 15th with a 5-second time penalty. Look at Holden Hertzer in 3rd position, ahead of Kimi Antonelli and Luke Browning. Linus Lundqvist is 6th, ahead of Matt Campbell. Mujiri 8th, Van Dorn 9th. Abby Pullen in 10th place, still chasing her first Grand Prix World Series points. Antonelli's about to be overtaken now by Luke Browning. Freeze in P2, whilst Lundqvist is trying to keep his Andretti on the track. We expect Kimi Antonelli to be in the pits soon. We're approaching the end of lap 27. He hasn't gone in for a stop yet, so he stays out for another lap. The League One race to come after this. This is round 3 of the Grand Prix World Series of Season 4. After Indianapolis, we go to Toronto to complete the North American doubleheader. And we kickstart the European season at Montjuic Park in Spain. Followed by Dijon-Bourgogne in France, Mugello in Italy, Nürburgring in Germany for round 8, which will also be the venue for the mid-season test. Istanbul Park is the host for round 9, Pärnu, Estonia round 10, and Seoul, Sweden for round 11, Zhuhai, China for round 12, Autopolis, Japan for round 13, and it's Yeongam, South Korea, Sepang, Malaysia, and Service Paradise, Australia to complete the campaign. And there is Stoffel Vandoorne in the Sachs Speed pulling out of the race with a mechanical issue, so that's the end of the day's work for team manager Mike Smith. And it's a gearbox problem for the Belgian. Back to Hirakawa in the lead. Now Kyle Milo, after that spin, whilst he was running in 5th place, he's in P12 behind Sacco Sullivan. And bad news for the LaRousse team and for team manager Chris Hosey. Abby Pullen from 9th position is going to be pulling out of the race. What a shame for her. Three races and no points for LaRousse. And it's another gearbox issue. So that's both of the LaRousses gone. Go back towards the front. Anthony still hasn't come into the pits yet. Approaching the end of lap 29. So this must be, I would say probably this lap is when Anthony's going to come in for his only stop. Now, in fact, Antonelli stays out. So a lot of laps still left in there. He's doing a fine job with what he's got. I don't think it's going to be too long before Matt Campbell is on his tail. So the top 10 is as follows. Rio Hirakawa leads. Nick De Vries for Andretti is second. It's Colton Hertz third, provisionally before his disqualification applies. Luke Browning fourth. Kimi Antonelli 5th, Matt Campbell 6th, Linus Lundqvist 7th, Tomek Inajiri 8th, Kush Miney 9th, and Zach O'Sullivan in 10th. Should Herta's disqualification remain, Callum Ilott will move up into the points. And it would also mean Luke Browning's first podium for 40, and it will be 40's first ever podium in the Grand Prix World Series, in their 50th race in this championship. Has the right number come up for team manager Dave Goddard? What a brilliant camera angle on the banking of turn 13. Whilst Indianapolis has hosted some brilliant races in the past, can't forget the infamous Bridgestone tyre race back in 2005 when Formula 1 came. After a series of accidents we have seen due to tyre failures from the Michelin manufactured tyres, the 7 teams that were running Michelin tyres had to withdraw at the end of the formation lap. And the 3 Bridgestone teams of Ferrari, Jordan and Minardi took the start, and it ended up becoming a 6-car race. Cross over the line to complete lap number 31. Hirakawa still leads by 3 seconds over Nick de Vries. Well, Kimi Antonelli, is he still out there? He is, and he's still going in the Coloni. I wonder if Antonelli might have already stopped, you know. I'd be interested to know, because he must have been one of the early stoppers. But he was quite a long way down the field before everyone had pitted. So he must have completed an enormous undercut on those to get up as high as he did. There we see Nick de Vries in second place. We saw an overtake a moment ago from Sarah Moore on Pato Ward. Teammate Jess Hawkins is already out of the race. Now we see Anthony locking up ahead of Matt Campbell, who's chasing him down. Anthony's not going through the corners as sweetly as he would normally do. Is he going to come into the pits at the end of the lap? No, he's remaining out there, is Anthony. I think Anthony might have made a stop very early on, or one of the first to do so. This is a long first stint that he's doing. He's done a super job to keep going as he has been doing. Once he really starts to lose ground, that's when he needs to pull the plug and say he needs to get some new tyres on. There's Herta in P3 ahead of Luke Browning, who's chasing him down. Locks up. Now we look at Matt Campbell going for it on Kimi Antonelli into the left-hander of turn 8, and that's enough for him to go through into P5. Sarah Moore looks to fend off Pato Ward and Mike Conway for position. Now we see Luke Browning into the pits for his second stop of the race. Anthony stays out there. Now, is that a scheduled stop there for Browning? It looks like he is. It looks like it is a scheduled stop because Nijiri is also in. Where will they filter back out? Probably outside the top 15, in all honesty, although Browning's got back out ahead of Will Power. Nijiri has rejoined. Oh, there's a bit of a contact there. I don't know what has happened. Has Alex Palou come together with someone, or has he done that all by himself? It looks like he's done that all by himself. Oh yeah, he just carried too much speed and just drifted through the corner. Luke Browning's rejoined behind Will Power for your information, so Power was able to get ahead of him at pit exit. There is Ryo Hirakawa continuing on his way in the race lead. There's Hirakawa in P1. We'll see Panther Award in 14th. As we see Campbell and Antonelli come in. It's Herta in P3. Not being challenged right now. He's doing the pits again before this race is over. Now, I would say it's between two drivers that are going to win now, between Hirakawa and De Vries. Unless both of them encounter problems in the remainder of this one. See, Sacco Sullivan has got Kyle Ilott for company. Ilott waiting to Pounds, trying to pull into the slipstream. Did he get through on O'Sullivan into turn 8? The answer to that question is no, so he'll probably sit back for a little bit until we get round to the pit straight. De Vries comes in from second place. Now, he pitted in before Hirakawa last time around, did the Dutchman. He was able to complete an undercut. So if I was Hirakawa, I would consider pitting in the next lap. Herta goes through into second place. Kushmini comes in. De Vries comes out behind Sacco Sullivan and Alex Palou. That's not ideal. At least he'll get out in front of Luke Browning, who has already made his last stop. In the lead still. Will he decide to pit in at the end of this lap? He doesn't, but Herta does come in. As we watch Linus Lundqvist doing a really good job on his debut, substituting for Jake Dennis. He's in second place right now. Being challenged by no one, as you can see, but Luke Browning has made his last stop, as has Kimi Antonelli, as has Matt Campbell, so we don't expect Lundqvist to rejoin ahead of them. You can see Sarah Moore coming into the pits. This is Sacco Sullivan. Sullivan rejoins ahead of Miney. Oh, Ilott has got in front of Moore. Sarah Moore is rejoining the circuit now. She looks like she is in front of the likes of Will Power and that. In 15th position. There's Luke Browning on the inside of Colton Herta. And Browning was going to be in front of Herta anyway at the finish because of Herta's disqualification. We thought it'd be nice for him to overtake him on circuit anyway. So he is through. Linus Lundqvist from P2 comes in for his final stop at the end of lap 37. Just the primer of willpower behind Sarah Moore. It's DeFries, who's in front of Lundqvist now. Next driver ahead of him is Alex Palou, who's due to pit again before this race is over. It's unlikely that Palou is going to come away with any points today. You can see Ilott making a move with Senna and Hawkins in the pits. Just to correct myself earlier, Hawkins is still in the race. I did say earlier that she had retired. She hadn't retired, but she did come in with a problem, which meant that she needed to do another stop. So at least Jake Sanderson could possibly see both of his cars, both of his drivers, finishing the lead to Indianapolis Grand Prix. Sarah Moore up to 13th. Now with the gap that DeFries has behind Ryo Hirakawa, is that going to be enough for him to complete the undercut? He's got Alex Palou ahead of him. He'll be in the pits again before this race is over. Palou will rejoin where Miney, Ilott and O'Sullivan are. And there is race leader Ryo Hirakawa comes in. This is the important pit stop we have been waiting for. Now, what is the pit stop going to be? Well, we've cut away from that. But there is DeFries in third place on track. He's got to hope that Alex Palou gets out of the way for him, but that's not Palou's problem. Both make their way through. Palou does come in. We want to see whether DeFries is able to get in front of Hirakawa here, or is Hirakawa going to retain the lead? I think Hirakawa is going to stay in front here. It's going to be very, very close. DeFries is coming towards turn 1, but Hirakawa has done enough. So Ryo Hirakawa, in his third Grand Prix World Series race, is on course for the victory. DeFries, who got stuck behind traffic after his second stop, is having to make do with PT for the time being. Right on Bobby Crushmoney. Is he able to get in front of Alex Palou here as they come towards turn 1? I think Palou is able to get out in front of him, but remember, Palou does have that 5-second time penalty for the unsafe rejoin at this corner they're about to head through. As Miney gets overtaken by Callum Ilott now, whilst he was trying to overtake Palou. I think Palou now can maybe try and go for a fastest lap or something like that. It's O'Sullivan running now in 11th place ahead of Miney. Miney's beginning to drop back here. Teammate Kimi Antonelli doing a terrific job in 5th place. And there is the engine failure for Colton Herta whilst he was running in 4th place. It's a terrible shame for Phil Kinch. Herta doing well here. He had his best race yet, minus the disqualification for taking out Nick Cassidy. Whether or not he'll be in the car for Toronto, well, that'll be down to team manager Phil Kinch as to whether he decides to even appeal it. And there is another engine failure up ahead. That's DeFries. He's out. Nick DeFries in the Andretti is out of the race. And into second goes Luke Browning in the 40. There is DeFries pulling out of the race. And it looks like Ryo Hirakawa is going to end up leading the Drivers' Championship as it stands. Herta will be pulling off in a moment with that problem he's got. Second place down the drain for Nick DeFries. Linus Lundqvist will go up into 4th place in a moment, behind Kimi Antonelli. Hertha, he doesn't even come in. He doesn't even come into the pits. He needs to be careful he doesn't take out another driver whilst he is pulling off. Now, this could get really, really dangerous here if Hertha is not careful. You see cars just dodging around him. I'm surprised he didn't even choose to come into the pits, in all honesty. There you go, he parks up on the pit straight. That's not really a good place to park up there, though. And Alex Palou was able to post a new fast stop of the race whilst he's at it, so that's a championship point coming in the way for him. You can see the field are trying to dodge round the stricken dams of Colton Hertha, and his race comes to an end. His teammate Pato Award is running in 14th position. Let's run down on the order then. Ryo Hirakawa leads and on course for his first Grand Prix World Series win, and the first for Carlin. Luke Browning in 2nd place. On the brink of achieving 40's first ever Grand Prix World Series podium in their 50th start. Kimi Antonelli in only his 3rd outing in the championship is on the cusp of a podium finish for Coloni. Linus Lundqvist in his maiden outing in the Grand Prix World Series is in 4th for Andretti. Matt Campbell on course for his first points, or first points finish, it will be in 5th place. We've got Tommy Kinijiri 6th. Alex Palou has just posted another new fast stop in 7th place. Has a 5-second time penalty hanging over him. Callum Ilott is 8th. Sacco Sullivan 9th. And Chris Miney in the points for Coloni in 10th. Sarah Moore is just outside the points in 11th. And now we are seeing an overtake from Linus Lundqvist on Kimi Antonelli. And Linus Lundqvist, in his cameo appearance for Andretti, is up into 3rd place, which is some salvation for team manager Linus O'Howell of the Andretti squad. I do not believe this! Race leader Ryo Hirakawa is slowing down 12 laps away from the finish! A huge dagger to the heart for team manager Perry Brown. Carlin are not going to be celebrating victory today. It's a retirement for Ryo Hirakawa, and it's a front suspension failure that is the cause. And it's hurrah, hurrah for the team manager of 40, Dave Goddard. Luke Browning leads the Lead 2 Indianapolis Grand Prix. After all the heartache that 40 have had in the last 3 seasons, is the milestone of a 50th Grand Prix World Series race could be one where not only are they going to celebrate their first podium, but their first ever victory. It's not over yet. It's far from over. Linus Lundqvist goes up to 2nd, ahead of Kimi Antonelli. You can see Luke Browning in the lead now. You can see Bruno Senna in 14th position has just been overtaken by Jess Hawkins, who's beginning to make a recovery drive at the moment. And the good news for her teammate Sarah Moore is up into the final points paying position in 10th. Luke Browning started 10th on the grid in this race. On the 2-stop strategy, has made his way up into the race lead. Linus Lundqvist has gone from 8th to 2nd, Antonelli from 6th to 3rd, and Matt Campbell from 7th to 4th. You can see Antonelli in third position, being chased by Matt Campbell, who's less than a couple of seconds behind him. Ram may still be able to lead the team's championship after all of this. As it stands with Doe not picking up anything from this race with both of the cars out. Carlin could get Isla up into 6th place depending on how quick Blow can get on the gas. What a race we have had. And so yeah, as it stands, Ram will be extending their lead in the team's championship after this race, with Campbell in 4th and Pelot currently in 6th. If he can bridge out that 5-second gap, which I'm confident that he can, there'll be 8 more championship points coming his way. In relation to the Drivers' Championship, Pelot will stay in the lead. Moving up to 2nd place in this championship. Well, I don't think Hirakawa is going to be overtaken for 2nd place in the championship, depending on where Luke Browning is in the grand scheme of things. He's failed to finish in any of the 2 races that we have had. So it'll be his first points of the campaign. Well, it's going to be the first points of the season for Forty, with Browning in the lead and O'Sullivan in 8th. So Ram are going to be extending the lead in the championship, with Campbell picking up 12 points and Pelot seemingly going to be picking up 8, as well as the point for the fastest lap. So that's 21 points coming in the way of them. They'll move on to 67 points. Moving into 2nd place in the championship will be Carlin still. So Ram will be 30 points clear over their nearest rivals going into the next race in Toronto. It's been a very consistent start to the season for Ross McGregor. We've got 15 drivers still left in the race. We've got 8 laps to go at the end of this one. Luke Brown is pulling away from Lundqvist. Antonelli is able to manage the gap behind Matt Campbell. Alex Pelot is 4 seconds clear over Ilott. So he needs to bridge out another second if he is to keep hold of 6th position. So we'll watch Kimi Antonelli. Fails to finish last time out in Buenos Aires, but he was able to maintain his consistency in qualifying, and what a job he has done today. This is going to please team manager Lewis Passendale. His teammate Kushmani running in P9 ahead of Sarah Moore. Luke Browning. What must be going through his mind right now? And there's an engine problem for Callum Ilott. Both of the Carlins are not going to be scoring points today. You have to feel for team manager Perry Brown, can't you? You have to feel for him. Both Callum Ilott and Ryo Hirakawa out of the race. It's going to be near par for the Carlin team at Indianapolis. And it gets even better for 40 with O'Sullivan up to 7th. And it's good news for Ram because Pelot's bridged out the margin that he needs to keep hold of 6th place. Sarah Moore up to 9th, and Will Power in the final points paying position for Kramer in 10th. Nijiri moving up to he's in 5th place now, is Nijiri, on course for a really, really good result. I think that's his best result so far in the Grand Prix World Series. Finished 9th in Buenos Aires and a non-finish in Brazil. So this is going to be his best result so far. unbelievable race at Indianapolis. And it's still not even finished yet. We've still got 6 laps to go in the League 2 event. We've got the League 1 race coming up very quickly after. Browning continuing to lead by over 4 seconds from Linus Sundqvist. The whole field that is remaining in the race is separated by less than 44 seconds. Lowe is 3 seconds behind Najiri, but even if he was to get through on Najiri, he won't pull out the margin he needs to keep hold of it because he'll run out of time. Luke Browning edging closer to the checkered flag now at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He has finished on the podium before, I believe, as Luke, as we watch a lock-up there from Pato Ward behind Will Power. This is a battle for the final point. Now, this is going to be his first podium for Luke Browning. His best result before today was a 5th place finish in San Carlos. That is the closest battle that is going on right now between Power, O'Ward and Conway. What a drive has been for Mancinelli in 3rd position, making the strategy work. Fist on course for a debut podium. These are important points for Andretti. They will go back up into 2nd place as it stands behind Ram. Lowe is 2 seconds off Najiri. O'Sullivan 3 seconds nearly ahead of Miney. Sarah Moore doing very well. She's pulling away from Will Power and all that, whilst they're having their own tussle. And you can see Bruno Senna at the back again. I wonder what Michael Gillespie must be thinking at this stage with how Dennis Hauger and Bruno Senna have been getting on. Whether he needs to make any changes to his driver lineup or the car is what needs improving as opposed to that. We've got a 3-car battle for the last point between Will Power, Pato Ward and Mike Conway. You see Linus Sundqvist in 2nd place with 3 laps remaining here. Spellbinding event. Lots of overtaking. Plenty of pit stop strategy going on that has played a part in this. Luke Browning, who is become familiar with things of how the Grand Prix World Series works, and there is Pato Ward on the inside of Will Power. This is for the last point. Adams are on course to salvage a point after all this. Pato Ward on course for his first point of the season by getting through on Will Power for 10th place. Now we see Power fall into the clutches now of Mike Conway, who will want to get through on the Australian. It's been another disappointing race really for Power by his standards. penultimate lap has begun for Luke Browning. Whilst Conway's catching up to Power, Jess Hawkins isn't too far behind to take advantage. For your information, the top 3 teams at the end of the season in League 2 will go up to League 1 for the next campaign. And there's Najiri off! He's had a spin! And that hands 5th to Alex Palou. Now Najiri needs to be very careful he doesn't rejoin back into the path of drivers. O'Sullivan goes through, Miney and Moore will go through, I think. He just rejoined ahead of Sarah Moy, rejoins in 8th. That's points lost for Najiri. So it gets even worse for team manager Alex Johnston. In contrast, Luke Browning is about to start the final lap of the race. Just over 4 kilometres for him to complete. And Dave Goddard can celebrate with a nice big bottle of champagne as some recompense for all the headaches, all the pain, all the depression of seeing his side, seeing his team crumble during the course of the last 3 years. But today, they're going to end the hoodoo. They are one of very few teams to have started the Grand Prix World Series without a win. I think they're the only team to have competed in every season in the Grand Prix World Series but have not tasted the race-winning champagne. Luke Browning is half a lap away from ending that record. In their 50th Grand Prix World Series race, 40 are about to call themselves race winners. They may not have been able to do so within Formula 1 all those years back in the mid-90s. Today, in the Grand Prix World Series, when it all matters, that is about to change. And whilst we say that, Tommy Kinijiri has pulled out on the last lap with a mechanical issue, and that throws away his points in this race, and that promotes Sarah Moore, Patrick Ward and Will Power up positions. So it gets even worse for team manager Alex Johnston. But we go back to Luke Browning, who comes around the banking to end the drought for Dave Goddard and 40. Luke Browning wins the League 2 Indianapolis Grand Prix. It's a day to saviour for the 40 squad from Italy in the reins of team manager Dave Goddard. They can call themselves Grand Prix World Series race winners. Linus Sundqvist on his Grand Prix World Series debut in place of Jake Dennis in the Andretti squad comes home in 2nd place. And it's a maiden podium for Kimi Antonelli for Coloni in 3rd, with the 2 Rams of Matt Campbell and Alex Palou in 4th and 5th. Sako Sullivan, Kush Money and Sarah Moore bags her first points in the Grand Prix World Series in 8th place. Patrick Ward 9th, Will Power in the Premier pick up the last point, with Mike Conway, Jess Hawkins and Bruno Senna the rest of the finishers. But there's your race winner. It is Luke Browning in the 40. For the first time, they are race winners in the Grand Prix World Series. He wins at Indianapolis ahead of Linus Sundqvist in 2nd place, Kimi Antonelli 3rd, ahead of the 2 Rams of Matt Campbell and Alex Palou. Sako Sullivan picking up his first points in 6th place for 40, ran up a brilliant day for the team. Kush Money 7th, Sarah Moore, her best result, and Surtis' best result in 8th place. What a day she has had. Patrick Ward in 9th and Will Power in 10th. Mike Conway 11th, had a Jess Hawkins and Bruno Senna, with Tommy Kinijiri classified in 14th after pulling out on the last lap of the race. Kalamilo dropped out with engine problems. Rio Hirakawa also retired with suspension problems whilst in the lead. Nick DeFries was so close as well. Abby Pullin, Stoffel Van Dorn, Jamie Chadwick, who also pulled out with a puncher. Ritomo Miata, who was in contention for the win, had to retire with transmission issues. Matteo Corelli, Dennis Hauger, Robin Friends and Nick Cassidy were the rest of those to not finish. Colton Herter also retired and is also disqualified for taking out Nick Cassidy at the start and is out of the next race in Toronto. Ritomo Miata took the point for the pole position. The fast lap goes to Alex Palou. Well, if you were a championship contender even after 2 races, it's probably not been a day to remember. If your name is Luke Browning and if your name is Dave Goddard, it certainly has been a day to remember. In their 50th Grand Prix World Series race, 40 can remember this day for the rest of their lives. Their first win in the Grand Prix World Series. Is this the kickstart to a dynasty of a return to League One for Dave Goddard's men? It's time to run down on the championship standings for League 2 here at Indianapolis, and we'll be back for the League One race very, very shortly. Topher, over to you.
Well, for Dave Goddard, it is a case of he finally takes his first ever podium in the Grand Prix World Series, and better than that, it's finally a first victory for the 40 Corsi team. Luke Browning getting the job done for Dave Goddard's team. A huge congratulations to him. That is an almighty result for Dave. It's been a long time coming. I'm sure he feels the same way about that one. Also, massive congratulations to Linus Lundqvist, giving his team manager Linus O'Howell something to think about for the future as he takes second on debut, while Kimi Antonelli also taking his first ever podium. What a result that is today in the League 2 Indianapolis Grand Prix. But how has that affected the driver's standings? Well, Alex Palou has kept hold of his championship lead. He's now on 56 points, ahead of Rio Harakawa with a gap of 26 points. The Spaniard building up a bit of a lead in the early stages of his championship as we head towards the first upgrade window. Kimi Antonelli's podium puts him up to third in the standings on 27, ahead of Nick de Vries, still unable to add to his points tally after winning the season opener in Hakarapagua. Luke Browning's victory gives him 5th place in the standings, ahead of Will Power. Nick Cassidy, 7th on 18, ahead of Linus Lundqvist, also on 18 after his 2nd place today. Ritomo Miata unable to convert pole to victory today. He's on 15 points, ahead of Matt Campbell in the 2nd Ram on 13. Looking at the team standings, Ram Racing leads the way on 69 points, building up a cushion to the Andretti team, who's on 43. Scuderia Coloni on 37, while 40 Corsi keeps himself off the bottom of the table and now sits on 33 points, ahead of Dome on Countback, the Japanese team headed up by David Yunt, also on 33 points. Carlin down to 6th with 31, ahead of Prema on 21. Zach Speed 8th on 18, ahead of Dams and Riel, rounding out the top 10 in the League 2 team standings. Surtees and Tolman also scoring points, while LaRousse still the only team in League 2 yet to score a point. They've come close on a couple of occasions, but not quite cracking that top 10 just yet. Well, that's the League 2 action done and dusted for today, with Dave Goddard, I'm sure, leading the celebrations down in the paddock. But it's now time to turn our attentions to League 1 and heading into today's event. Scott Dixon leading the way in the points on 29 points after Buenos Aires, 4 ahead of Sebastian Buemi, and Oliver Behrman. Buemi ahead of Behrman on countback due to his victory in the season opener. Felix Rosenquist in the Arrows, 4th on 18, ahead of Earl Bamber, also on 18 in the Leighton House. Jean-Eric Verne puts both Prosts into the top 6 on 16 points. Raffaele Marcello, 15 points in the Force India, ahead of Jules Gounon, Oliver Rowland and Brendan Hartley. That is your top 10 for the League 1 driver standings heading into today. And in the teams, Prost leads away on 41 points, 6 ahead of Minardi. Arrows on 28 and Simtek on 25. Force India in 5th on 19 points, 1 ahead of Leighton House. Onyx Grand Prix on 13, Manor on 10, Pacific on 9, and Fon Metal on 8. And on Nunpois at the moment, HRT, BAR, and Mastercard Lola. Will any of those teams score some points today and get themselves off the mark? We'll see where they are where it comes to the checkered flag. But before we get down to the grid, we have a couple of driver changes to make note of. The first of those coming at the Manor team, and Sam Hall deciding to do a little bit of an experiment with his drivers before the first upgrade window of the season, and he's put reserve driver Mitch Evans into the race seats in place of Jose Maria Lopez, who, it has to be said, has had a little bit of a disappointing start to the season, considering that he picked up his first victory in the season finale in Laguna Seca a few weeks ago. He will now be put onto the sidelines while Mitch Evans is given a chance in equal machinery, and then Sam Hall will make his decision on who to keep in for the rest of the season. Over at Mastercard Lola, Marcus Johansson having no choice but to put Roman Grosjean onto the bench after he was disqualified from the last round, and Daniel Kvyat will make his return to a Grand Prix World Series race seat in his place. Kvyat, I'm sure, will do everything that he can to audition for a full-time seat once again, whether that be at Mastercard Lola or maybe one of the other teams will pick up some interest in him. We'll see how he gets on today. So just those 2 driver changes for the League One race today. So we're going to waste no more time. We'll get straight down to the qualifying results. And it is yet another pole position for Scott Dixon. He makes it 3 in a row in season 4 in a Minardi. A 10th of a second ahead of Earl Bamber in the Leighton House. And Mahavir Raghunathan 3rd in the BAR, making it the same top 3 here in Indianapolis as it was on the grid for the last round of Buenos Aires. Oliver Ronan puts in his best qualifying performance of the season so far to go 4th, ahead of Joseph Newgarden for his home race in the Leighton House. Daniel Kvyat, a good performance from him on his return to be 6th in the Mars Lola, ahead of Felix Rosenquist in the Arrows, Sebastian Bourdais in the Minardi, Jean-Eric Vergne in the Prost, and Mick Schumacher in the second Mars Lola. Marcus Johansson, I'm sure, will be very happy to see both of his cars in the top 10 on the grid. Nicholas Latifi, 11th in the BAR, ahead of the Force India duo of Raffaele Marcello and Antonio Felix da Costa. Sebastian Buemi, winner of the season opener, is 14th on the grid, ahead of Scott McLaughlin and Alexander Sims, the 2 HRTs, in 15th and 16th. Oliver Behrman up there fighting for championship at the moment. He will go from 17th today, ahead of Pietro Fittipaldi, Brendan Harley and Kamui Kobayashi to round out the top 20. 21st on his debut will be Mitch Evans in the Manor, ahead of Felipe Nasr, Jules Gounon 23rd, Shane Van Gisbergen 24th, and on the back row, Marcus Ericsson and Liam Lawson, all cars within 0.8 of a second of Scott Dixon's pole position time today. It's said to be another fantastic race if the League 2 event was anything to go by. We can't wait to get this one underway and see who will be victorious around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, let's get straight to it. Tom Cairns, take it away.
For the 3rd race out of 3, Scott Dixon on pole. Is he able to make it 2 wins in a row from there? Earl Bamber, who finished on the podium last time out, gone in for Leighton House to get right back in the race here and be in contention for another championship. The fire lights are coming on for one last time here at Indianapolis. Lights on. Lights off. Dixon does not get off to a good start because Earl Bamber is already ahead of him, and the field are approaching the long right-hander of turn 1. It's coming up in a few hundred metres time. Dixon falling behind Bamber, but look at Mahavir Raghunathan is coming up the inside, both of them, and is Mahavir Raghunathan going to take the lead? No, it's not. It's Joseph Newgarden, of all people. There's an accident at the back. It looks like Raffaele Marcello, the podium finisher in Buenos Aires, is out of the race. We're having another look at the replay because it looks like someone had run into the rear of the Force India. Or was that conflicted by Marcello moving across? I think Marcello moved across actually. And that was on the... Is that the other Force India? No, it's Nicholas Latifi in the BAR, which he moved across, I think. So I think Marcello is the one to be at blame for that. He is the one retiring at the first corner of the racetrack. It's not going to be any points for him this time around. But what a start by Joseph Newgarden. The Indy 500 winner recently is into the lead and no action is taken for the first corner mayhem. And Mahavir Raghunathan is into 2nd place ahead of Earl Bamber with Scott Dixon in 4th. Danny Kvyat, who is substituting for Roman Grosjean in the Mastercard Lola team, is in 5th place. Oliver Ellen 6th, Sebastian Bourdais 7th, Felix Rosenquist is 8th, Alexander Sims is 9th, and Sebastian Buemi in 10th position. I'd say one driver who's had a really poor start to the race is Jean-Eric Vergne. He's down 3 positions from his starting place, and he's obviously with more work to do than desired, and he's getting through on Kamui Kobayashi at the end of the lap. And now we're looking at Scott Dixon, who's going for it on Earl Bamber as they come towards the first corner of the racetrack here. Dixon making the move on the inside of the Leighton House, and that's good enough for him to go back up into 3rd place. And we see Alexander Sims pulling out with front suspension failure in the HRT. I don't think anyone came together with him, or at least it didn't look like it. You can see Buemi going through ahead of him. So you can see Sims does not get hit by anyone. The front leg suspension gave way, and his race is over after only 1 lap. it be before he actually gets pushed off the road. Here they go. Look, the marshal behind him now, and Sims is out of the race yet again. No points after 3 races for the Brit. And Danny Kvyat has got in front of Earl Bamber for 4th place in the Marscod Lola. Is Bamber carrying an issue, or is he on a heavier fuel load to what Kvyat is on? And you can see Dixon closing in on McGunnathan in the battle for P2. McGunnathan, who's had a decent start to the campaign before retiring in both of the races, is doing his best to hang on here. We haven't seen any more overtaking going on. There's Oliver Rowland behind Earl Bamber for 5th position here. Buemi's making a move on Felix Rosenqvist at the same time. So a couple of position changes done simultaneously. McGunnathan in 2nd place ahead of Dixon still, but Kvyat is also closing in. Looking very, very strong. Both Prosts inside the top 10, Buemi 8th and Vernon 10th. Is Scott Dixon going to go for it on McGunnathan here into turn 8? Don't think he will do. We're now looking at the Pacific of Pietro Fittipaldi in 18th place. A lot of changes happening. In fact, Fittipaldi's been overtaken by someone there. I can't tell who it is. I think it might be Mitch Evans. Unless Fittipaldi just went in too deep into turn 8. And that's Shane van Gisbergen in the manner out of the race. It's not been a brilliant start to the season for Sam Hall's team. We had hoped for more than this. After 3 races, Jonathan with the new fastest up of the race now in the Prost. Dixon going through ahead of Matafura Gunnarsson into 2nd place now. Van Gisbergen being lifted over thanks to a puncher on the manor. But Dixon is through ahead of Gunnarsson into 2nd place now. He can go after Joseph Newgarden for the race lead. He's got a gap of over 3 seconds. There's Kvyat, and there's Roland right behind. Kvyat won't want to hang around behind Gunnarsson for too long. Through turns 9 and 10 they come. See Dixon, who should pull away from this lot. See Marcus Ericsson, the League 2 Drivers' Champion of last season, in 17th place, ahead of the debutant Mitch Evans, who's the only manor left in the race now. As long as they stay in the race, they've got every chance of picking up some points, as Joseph Newgarden posts a new fast lap. Kvyat is able to get through on Gunnarsson. He's up the inside of the BAR, and that's a position gain for the Marscod Lola driver. Kvyat having the race of his life so far, up into 3rd place for Marcus Johansson's team. See Bourdais behind Roland. Bourdais failed to finish last time out in Buenos Aires, but he did a brilliant recovery drive to P7 in Brazil. He'll want to try and be on terms with his teammate Scott Dixon. You see Verne making the pass on Earl Bamber. Well, Earl Bamber, who was towards the front of the field, is almost falling out of the points. He must be on a heavy fuel load compared to the others, and really approaching the end of lap 5. See Oliver Rowland behind Matafura Gunnarsson in the battle for 4th place. He tried to go for it into the banking, but didn't work. And they get back into the 6th stream and go for it again. There is Scott Dixon, 8 times a podium finisher in the 8 times a race winner in the Grand Prix World Series. 12 times pole sitter. 17 times a podium finisher, 14 fast laps to his name, 409 championship points, twice Grand Prix World Series champion in League 1. That was for Simtek. Now he's in the colours of Minardi this time around. Danny Kafia in third place as we watch Bourdais go for it on Matafia Rigunathan, I should say. But Bourdais threw up into 5th place, and Rigunathan is beginning to struggle at this point now. There is Scott Dixon in 2nd place behind Newgarden as Kobayashi runs wide on the exit of turn number 10. He's got that's Marcus Ericsson for company. He's had to run wide to avoid contact. And so we've got Mitch Evans and Brennan Hartley for company. I think we are beginning to see those who are doing the one-stop in this race to really drop back, because we are seeing Earl Bamber dropping out of the points. He's down to 11th now behind Nicholas Latifi. Sebastian Buemi is through on Rigunathan to P6. He's the next to go past. And towards the back we are seeing Liam Lawson make a move on Pietro Fittipaldi. We're only on lap 7. We've seen a lot of overtaking again here at Indianapolis. This is phenomenal to see. Newgarden in the race lead by 4 seconds. Mitch Evans going through on Marcus Ericsson. And that change is for 17th place. You can see the Manor running the Holden sponsorship and the Autosport sponsorship on the top of the engine cover. In case you're wondering why it's on there, it's because Sam Hull, the team manager of the squad, is a journalist for Autosport. Rosenquist line up a pass from Rigunathan, and this is for 7th place for the Arrows pilot. He's the next to send the BAR down the order, and next behind Rigunathan is Jean-Eric Verne. We're looking at Kafia, who's closing in on Dixon, and Dixon isn't catching Newgarden by any means. You'd have thought he'd be doing so, but he hasn't been able to claw down the gap since he got by Rigunathan. We see Verne going for it as we see Kafia on the inside of Dixon. He's done it! Into turn 8 has Danny Kafia in the Mastercard Lola. He's through into 2nd place. In contrast, Earl Bamber has dropped down to 13th position behind Scott McLaughlin. And Bamber will just be hoping for the pit stops to begin very soon, but it won't happen for another half a dozen laps. Could find himself towards the back at this rate. Further back we are seeing Brendan Hartley behind it's the Von Mattel of Marcus Ericsson as they come onto the pit straight. We've seen the man who won the Indy 500 in the last 2 years now, Joseph Newgarden, in his 3rd Grand Prix World Series race. He's going to taste victory again in Indianapolis, this time in the Grand Prix World Series. It's going to take some doing for anyone to stop him. It's Latifi, who is behind Rigunathan, who's been overtaken by Jean-Eric Verne. I don't think it's going to be too long before we see the 2 BAR drivers swapping places. They are in different liveries, of course, are the BAR pilots. Pietro Fittipaldi's dropped to the back of the field now, and I think it's because he's on a heavier fuel load. And that's a driver's nightmare when they're on heavier fuel loads compared to the others. Joseph Newgarden, nearly 5 seconds clear over everyone else. We'll look at Dixon and Rowland because they're quite nose to tail now. That's the battle we want to be watching. And there is Sean Goonan getting through on Brendan Hartley round the outside. Don't see overtakes there, so Hartley must be carrying an issue, because he's not going very quick at all. You can see a move up ahead. That is Nicholas Latifi on Mahavir Raghunathan for 9th place. Raghunathan falling nearly out of the points now. See Dixon and Rowland, and I think we're going to see a change for position very shortly here. Although Rowland is too far back. Oh, he nearly hit the wall actually, did Rowland. Hartley is off the circuit. I did say he was carrying a problem, and that is him out of the race. Two races in the points for Hartley at least, but Pacific have not had a lot to celebrate so far. And Dixon's out as well! At turn 2, Dixon's pulled off! Scott Dixon, the championship leader for the second time in 3 races, is not going to make it to the checkered flag. The reigning world champion is out. What's happened to Rowland? Because I think he's encountered problems as well. In fact, he's spun round as Rowland. He's picked up an issue and he's been nudged off the circuit, and his race is over too. You can see the Prost getting through. And it was Latifi that ran into him, as did the Moscow Lola of Mick Schumacher. Rowland out of the race as well. But I wonder if Latifi is going to get hit with some form of punishment here. He shouldn't do. But let's see how Rowland may have come across on him. It looks quite avoidable, to be honest with you. But the fact that Latifi's picked up the front wing damage may serve the justice in itself. But Rowland's race is over. Latifi keeps going, as does Mick Schumacher, thankfully. We'll see what the stewards say on that one. And it really is all kicking off, because we're seeing so many battles right here and then, and that's because Latifi is circulating around with no front wing to his car. And Oliver Lynn will start the race from the back of the grid at the next round in Toronto. And Latifi is become a huge obstacle course for the drivers here, and he gets into the pit lane without any further drama, and he'll fall to the back of the field. Through all that then, Joseph Newgarden leads, ahead of Danica Fiat in second, and Sebastian Bourdais in the sole survivor Minardi in third. And it's Sebastian Buemi in the Prost in fourth, Felix Rosenqvist in fifth for Arrows, Jean-Luc Verne sixth, and there's Fittipaldi, who's next to go for a spin. He should be able to rejoin from there, so no harm done for the Brazilian. Back to the top 10. Mahavir Raghunathan 7th, Scott McLaughlin 8th, and we're looking at Felipe Nasr. As we're just looking at the retail race actually, we've got Oliver Rowland, Scott Dixon, Brendan Hartley, Shane Van Gisbergen, Alexander Sims, and Rafael Marciello all out of the race. I want to go back to the top 10 to see where everyone is. Scott McLaughlin is now 9th because Mick Schumacher's got in front of him, and Tony Felix da Costa occupies the last point in the Force India. There's Newgarden in P1. The Fiat, who's not had a lot to celebrate. He's had a couple of races with Onyx last season, but never returned after that. He's making the most of his opportunity in the Mastercard Lola. Driver is replaced for this round, which is Roman Grosjean. Is that going to give something for team manager Marcus Johansson to think about for the next race? Now, as it stands with the way the championship is going, it is still very much early days, of course, but if it was to remain as it is, Sebastian Buemi will move back into the lead of the Drivers' Championship on 37 points. long way to go yet, and plenty of time for everything to change. We're only 14 laps into the event now, or 13 rather. Here's Joseph Newgarden going to take his first Grand Prix World Series win. It won't be Leightonhouse's first win, of course. As it stands, they'll be picking up their 9th Grand Prix World Series win. They won 6 in League 2 in Season 2 with Will Power and Helio Castroneves, and they won another couple with Power in Season 3 when they were in League 1. They haven't tasted victory since the Kyalami Grand Prix with Sebastian Buemi. I have to correct myself, it wasn't Will Power that got this victory, it was Sebastian Buemi who got them. It's a long time since they picked up a win since then. Newgarden goes over the line, 5 seconds clear over Danny Buffia. You can see activity in the pit lane. Jean-Luc Verne is coming in for a stop. Given how close the field are at the present moment, I would expect Verne to get out in some clear air. There's no overtake there from McLaughlin on the Gundam for P7. Right on board on the rear wing of Sebastian Bourdais momentarily. See Earl Bamber holding up Jules Gounon, who's had a promising start to his Grand Prix World Series career in the Onyx. Came very close to a podium last time out in Buenos Aires. Brought his car home in a nice P10 from the back of the grid. As the Frenchman, so far in this one, he has started 23rd and has quietly made his way up into 15th. The only Minardi left in the race now as Ericsson comes into the pits for his first stop. Oh, he's hit the wall! Verne has hit the wall on the exit of the last corner and he's out of the race! Shortly after his pit stop, I don't know if a problem occurred that caused him to have that failure. That's a huge shunt there for the Frenchman. He's the next to go from this race. Verne retires from the League 1 Indianapolis Grand Prix when it looked so good for possibly a podium finish. See Gounon on the inside of Bamber, and that drops Bamber to 14th place now. And he's got Liam Lawson for company, which is Gounon's teammate. Ran very close to the wall again, very close to the wall on the exit turn 13. To get away with it. See Gounon come into the pits shortly after he made that overtake on Bamber. You see Bourdais in 3rd position still. Bourdais hasn't finished on the podium since the League 1 Brands Hatch Grand Prix for Onyx in Season 3. That has been the only podium he has scored since his last victory in Season 2 at Buenos Aires. Minardi have been. Probably looking good for a podium at some point. Will it come today? The order still remains as it is. Mick Schumacher is next to go for the pits. Kamui Kobayashi moves up into the points for now. There's the Frenchman coming down the back straight behind Danica Fiat. This is the 18th lap of the race that Newgarden is about to complete. Thirds of the way through. It's quite chaotic as it has been in the Lead 2 event. Fiat comes in from second place. A couple more laps. Full gauge if he wants to carry on, but he decides to come in now. All day likewise. Raimi goes up to second, and Rosenqvist in third. And McLaughlin and Behrman are in, as is Lawson and Nasser. Kafia has come out in some clear air ahead of Bourdais. That might give Newgarden something to worry about later. Gunnathan up to fourth then. He must be on the one stoppage for Gunnathan. P2 ahead of Rosenqvist. They head over the line together. This is the second separating the two. There's only one Prost and one Arrows left in the race. Kobayashi pits in for Simtek. He hasn't been enjoying life so far in the Simtek so far this season. And it's bad news for team manager Giacomo Pagliaro for Minardi. Bourdais is slowing down after 19 laps, and they are not going to be coming away with any finishing points. Dixon got the point for pole, but that is all they're going to be coming away with today. He's going to pull up in the same place as where Dixon had retired earlier. History repeats itself from last season for the team when De Vries and De Costa were there. Joseph Newgarden pitting in from the race lead. This season, it's Dixon and Bourdais feeling the brunt of Minardi's mechanical issues. Newgarden's pit stop means Maverick Gunnathan leads the race. He did lead in Brazil, albeit for a few hundred metres, no more than that. Danica Fiat with a new fastest lap of the race. Mitch Evans coming in, as is Antonio Felix da Costa. El Bamba has yet to make a pit stop in this. He's just ahead of his teammate, but I don't know if he'll want to hold up his teammate. The good news for Newgarden is that he's ahead of Kafia and the gap is bigger than what it was before the pit stops had begun. Bamber is running his own race, but he won't want to hold Newgarden up. Schumacher making the move on Sebastian Buemi for 7th position, and he's made the move stick. Moscardolo getting through. Moscardolo having a phenomenal race so far. Newgarden behind Bamber. Bamber doesn't let him go just yet. Jonathan is leading, but will it remain that way before he pits in? We saw what happened with Kimi Antonelli in the lead 2 race earlier. It's all over the back of Bamber. It's just a matter of time before he gets through. Does Newgarden. So I think Bamber will let him go at turn 8 here. Inside, and that's enough for Newgarden to get through. 2nd place, here he goes. He's got around about 7 seconds to make up. Rosa Fist gets through on Pietro Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi hasn't stopped yet, despite that spin. Look at Raghunathan in the race lead. Kvyat posting another new fast stop of the race. And we are seeing Mick Schumacher behind Pietro Fittipaldi. Schumacher is through on the Brazilian. Don't think it'll be too long before we see Buemi through as well. Jonathan in P1. And Buemi's stuck behind Fittipaldi now. This is not helping his race, but he's able to get through on him this time. Into 7th place. He goes. And we're looking at Newgarden again, closing down the gap on Jonathan very quickly, actually. He was run about 6.3 behind him at the end of the previous lap. The gap is now 5.1. We want to get through on him before half race distance, I would think. There's Ollie Berman on Nicholas Latifi. He thinks about getting the move done, but there's just no way he's able to do it there. Berman under threat from McLaughlin. McLaughlin isn't able to get through this time around. We've lost a number of drivers in this race. We've lost Sebastian Bourdais, Jean-Eric Verne. We've also lost Scott Dixon. Oliver Rowland we've also lost. We've lost the likes of Shane van Gisbergen, Alexander Sims. There's Berman. Further behind him. DeCosta got through on McLaughlin, and it looks like Evans has got past Marcus Ericsson for 14th. Let's see Newgarden. He's got to get down to less than 4 seconds. Raghunathan is not stuck behind traffic, but he's on old tyres, which he's been on since the start. There's DeCosta on the inside of Berman for 10th place. DeCosta is the only Force India left in the race after Marcello had crashed out at turn 1 on the first lap of the event. driver we also lost was Brendan Hartley. There we go, look, there's the list of retirees. Sebastian Bourdais, Jean-Luc Verne, Oliver Rowland, Scott Dixon, Brendan Hartley, Shane van Gisbergen, Alexander Sims and Rafael Marcello are all out of the race. Felipe Nasr is still going in 18th position. He's the last runner out of all of those that are still going. Earl Bamber in third place ahead of Danica Fiat, who has already pitted. DaCosta trying to get through on Latifi, but he's not able to make the move stick. Might have another go at it into turn 1. You can see the two Onyx drivers swapping places. Lawson going for the move on Gounon into the first corner, and that's enough for the Kiwi to get through. Bamber running in P3 ahead of Danica Fiat. Might be too long before he pits in. 1.6 seconds is the margin between Regunathan in the lead and Newgarden in second. I think Newgarden's going to take back the lead in a lap or so time with the way he's going about his business with clawing down the gap. Now on lap 27, and Lawson has pulled out of the race. Even after that overtake on his teammate, it's counted for nothing. He's just pulled off with some form of mechanical issue. Now, is that a gearbox issue which he's encountered, or is it something else? It's a gearbox issue for Lawson. That's 9 drivers out of the race who haven't reached half race distance. Gounon is about to be overtaken again, this time by the Fon Mattel of Felipe Nasr. Back at the front, Newgarden behind Regunathan now. Just waiting for his moment. There's Behrman behind McLaughlin in the battle for 11th between those two, and ahead of him are Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Felix DaCosta. No, DaCosta might go for a move on Latifi in a moment, but we're going back to the front because Regunathan, he's holding up Newgarden, but will he do so for any longer? As they come down onto the pit straights, half a second between the two. I don't know if Newgarden's close enough to go for the move. He's not close enough, and Regunathan continues to hold him up for the time being. Kvyat is ahead of Bamber, for your information. He's into third place now. Now for Newgarden to win this race, he needs to get by Regunathan, because Kvyat is on the same strategy as Newgarden. Ahead of DaCosta there, by the looks of it. Latifi's made an overtake on Pietro Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi's yet to make a pit stop, and there's Newgarden on the inside of Regunathan, and that's a change of lead with the American getting through and up into P1 now. And that's Kvyat pulling off, and he's out! Terrible news for Marcel Lola and for team manager Marcus Johansson. Kvyat, substituted for Roman Grosjean, has done very well up until a left rear puncher has forced the man running an Italian licence to retire. That's going to make things a lot easier for Newgarden now. He just needs to make no mistakes from here on in, now that he's into the lead on merit. The question is, who's going to finish second? It really could end up being one of 4 drivers. Maybe 5 if you count Buemi. So it's going to be between Regunathan, Bamber, Rosenqvist, Schumacher and Buemi. And we are seeing a problem for Kamui Kobayashi, and for the third race in a row, he is not going to finish. Or maybe for the second race in a row he's not going to finish, because he did finish in Brazil. No, he did finish in Brazil, but it was down in 18th. Kobayashi's rotten start to the season with Syntec has got even worse. Another driver out. And we've only got 15 left in the event. Here's Malvira Gunnavan still going. BAR yet to score their first points of the campaign. Only just survived last season in League One. They're going to have a tough time of it keeping hold of their status, even though their cars are up to it so far. Gunnavan is 8 seconds clear of Earl Bamber in the fight for P2. See Newgarden on course for what could be a home race win for him. And there's a problem for Sebastian Buemi in the Prost, and it's going to be no points for the French team. Their first double retirement of the season, and it's very unlikely they're going to be leaving here in the lead of the team's championship either. Pulls up behind Liam Lawson, wrecks his rear wing, and I think Lawson's car is going to be craned over now that Buemi's damaged it. Buemi out then, he's out of contention for finishing second in this race. We know that Minardi are not going to come away in the lead of the team's championship. Arrows could at the moment with, although Felix Rosenqvist is running in 4th place, that would not be enough for Arrows to move into the lead of the team's championship. As for Syntec, Ollie Berman is in 9th position. That wouldn't be enough. With Latehouse on course for what could be a good haul of points. If they were to finish 1st and 3rd, let's say, that would net them 40 championship points. That would be enough to move them on to 58. So they would move into the team's championship lead with the positions as they are. Newgarden's still got 24 more laps to get through though. And Berman! He's out of the race. I cannot believe what I'm seeing here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He got punted off the circuit as well by Mitch Evans, but I don't think any action is going to be taken to that. Evans gets through. Berman is out. No points for Syntec. And then there were 13. Are the stewards going to take any action to the incident with Evans and Berman? The answer is no. And I think that's the right decision as well. Teddy Fitzcosta is one of those still going for a move on Nicholas Latifi into turn 1, and he's made the move stick. And DaCosta missed out on the Grand Prix World Series title last season. He's hoping to kickstart his campaign with Force India. He finished in the points in Brazil before retiring in Buenos Aires, but he's going well here. And who knows what could happen in the closing stages involving those in the top 5. Yeah, I've seen Ericsson going for it on Fittipaldi. I'm looking at Newgarden there. He seems to be going okay with where he is. The car seems to be circulating around fine. Now, Ericsson didn't get through on Fittipaldi, as though I thought he would. Might go for it on the pit straight next time around. Bumba in P3, yet to make a pit stop in this. Now we're looking at Ericsson. He's about to get through on the Pacific ahead. So I could do with some useful points here. Ericsson through and up into the points in 10th. The gap between Newgarden and Regunathan is 5 seconds. Regunathan's done well to maintain the gap as it is, in all honesty. But he's still yet to make a pit stop. As has Earl Bamber in 3rd. They've had very good races so far. If you look at the championship at the moment in terms of the drivers, Dixon collected the point for the fastest lap, so he'll increase his score. Boemi isn't going to score today, so it's no points for him. Ollie Berman is not going to score. Felix Rosenqvist, who's running in 4th place, on course to get 30 championship points. He'll tie with Dixon, but with Dixon's win, it's the Kiwi who will stay in the lead, unless Elbamba can remain in 3rd place. If he does that, he'll go into the lead on 33 points, providing he doesn't make any mistakes from here on in. So he's on course for 33 points. Regunathan hasn't scored yet this season, neither has Newgarden. Regunathan has come into the pits at last, which will allow Bamber to go into 2nd place for now. Yes, it will be Earl Bamber moving into the lead of the championship with the way things are going, even though he hasn't picked up a win yet this season. Mick Schumacher also heading for pit road in the Marscod Lola. As is Marcus Ericsson and Pietro Fittipaldi. Regunathan will rejoin behind Mitch Evans. Felix Rosenqvist in 3rd now for Arrows. 2nd place finish it was for him in Brazil. No points in Argentina though. And Joseph Newgarden is in for his final stop from the lead. What is Earl Bamber going to do? Well, I think considering these teammates in the pits, I don't think he'll want to pit in on the same lap as he is. Bamber goes into the lead for now. Costa will go through as well, I would think, unless he's decided to come into the pits. In fact, Newgarden is going to rejoin ahead. Out in 3rd position ahead of Simon McLaughlin and Mitch Evans, because Nicholas Latifi and Antonio Felix Costa have come in for their last changes of tyres and fuel. And Mick Schumacher's in the pits again. Has he encountered a problem, Mick Schumacher? I think he must have done. So Schumacher's hopes of a podium here today have been dashed. Because he was only in the pits a lap ago when he and Regunathan came in, and he's just come back in again. His chances of points are pretty much dashed now. Still got 20 laps to go in this race. Made that 19 once Bamber goes over the line. And into the lead is Felix Rosenqvist, unless he's coming in as well. He's in as well as Rosenqvist, so we should see Newgarden go back into the lead of the race. And bar any mechanical problems, no one can stop Newgarden from taking victory today. Scott McLaughlin going through into second position, but he's expected to pit in again before this race is over, as is Mitch Evans. And in fact, Rosenqvist has got in front of Bamber. He's done a better pit stop than Bamber, and Rosenqvist has got through into what could potentially be second place later, but he's got ahead of Bamber in the stops. And that could be significant in terms of the battle for the championship lead later. McLaughlin running in P2. Only 5 seconds behind Newgarden. And he's coming in for his last stop now. Mitch Evans isn't too far behind. Is he heading for pit road as well? No, he's staying out for another lap, is Evans. Jonathan goes through into P3. Naza goes through into P4, but surely he's yet to come in for another stop, as is Shaul Gounon. McLaughlin will rejoin in front of Antonio Fitzcosta, will he? No, he won't. He might rejoin in front of Latifi, though, if he's lucky. I think he has done. HRT are one of 3 teams yet to score points this season, Moscardella and the other team yet to score points this season. That would be BAR. And they've got Jonathan running in P3 right now, and Latifi in 10th, but that is expected to change with some drivers still yet to make their last stops, and they are Evans, Naza and Gounon. See Latifi on the inside of McLaughlin. 9th place goes to the BAR. Now the driver with the fastest up of the race is Danny Kvyat. Even though he's out of the race, he's still able to grab that point as it stands. With Mick Schumacher out at the points right now, he might still get back into it, but it's going to take a lot for him to do so. He is like behind Pietro Fittipaldi again. There should be a change of position here. Schumacher on the inside. And 12th position is his into turn 1. Now Mick's father, Michael Schumacher, has won 5 times on this circuit in the noughties. When Formula 1 had a tenure racing on this course, on this configuration. And the next driver to get through for Schumacher is Marcus Ericsson, who's angling for points. Mitch Evans is in for his last stop from second. He'll rejoin in the points. The question is where? Naza and Gounon are also in at the end of lap 39. Evans will rejoin in 8th. Naza will fall behind Ericsson and Schumacher. Gounon will also fall back. Naza and Gounon will rejoin in 12th and 13th. You can see a battle for 3rd place hotting up now between Felix Rosenqvist and Earl Bamber. None of the top 4 have won in the Grand Prix World Series before today. That is set to change with the way things are going. What a drive from Mahathir Raghunathan in the BAR in 2nd place. Important points for BAR coming up here. They really need these. They haven't scored yet this season. Go back to the battle for P3. And as it stands with the positions as they are, it'll be Felix Rosenqvist moving into the lead of the Drivers' Championship. He will move on to 33 points. El Bamba will move into second place. In fact, no, he won't, because even though he'll be tied on points with Dixon, Dixon will be ahead on countback. Dixon will be second on 30. Bamba will be third on 30. Looking at Antonio Felix da Costa, who is running in a very strong 5th place now after all the stops. It's going to be his best result of the season so far. We'll go on to 14 points. There's 14 coming into this round, but will move up quite massively. He'll move in front of Roland, Hartley, Van Gisbergen, Ericsson and Bourdais. You can see Schumacher behind Ericsson in the fight for 9th place. I think we're going to see a change of position here. And this is going to be an easy manoeuvre for Mick. After having to make a 3rd stop, he gets through on Ericsson and he's up into 9th place there. He's got plenty of time to catch Evans and McLaughlin, Latifi and possibly da Costa. So 5th may not be out of the equation just yet for Mick Schumacher. Another lap completed for Joseph Newgarden. He's 11 seconds clear over Mahathir Raghunathan, who's another 8 clear over the battle for 3rd place between Rosenqvist and Bamba. At least the sides, or the teams that haven't scored yet today in League One, are about to do so. BAR are on course to get, at the moment, 26 championship points. HRT are going to get 6, and Mascot Lola are about to get 3. The bottom 3 teams after this race, as it stands, will be, I think will be Fomatel, HRT and Mascot Lola. There's a long way to go yet in the campaign, that's for sure. Less than 3 seconds is the margin between Evans in 8th and Schumacher in 9th. Rosenqvist is still ahead of Bamba. The 2 are nose to tail. Will we see any more drama between now and the checkered flag? Joseph Newgarden in his 3rd Grand Prix World Series race on course. Let's make it victory for him and for the team. Their first for nearly a whole season. And Sebastian Buemi in Kyalami in Season 3. Last time Leighton House tasted victory. Oh, and Latifi. Oh, I thought he had a spin for a moment there, but it was just him running wide. And we saw a lock-up further ahead from Antonio Felix da Costa. think he did well to keep it on the island, but now he's under threat from Scott McLaughlin, who'll be right in his tail now, and he'll be fancying a go at it. He'll be fancying a go on the Canadian into turn 1. Here's Rosenqvist and Bamber. And Bamber on the inside of Rosenqvist into turn 8, and Bamber is finally through. 2 Leightonhouses in the top 3 now. Earl Bamber into 3rd place ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, and more importantly into the lead of the championship as it stands. On lap 45, it is potentially going to end up in a double podium for Chris Cavani's team. It's a long time since he's celebrated. It'll be one worth waiting for. Nasser getting through on Pietro Fittipaldi there into 11th place. Next car behind Fittipaldi is Zhu Gunon, who is the last of the runners. 10 laps to go. Mick Schumacher is not closing down the gap at the moment on Mitch Evans. However, we are seeing an overtake from Scott McLaughlin on Nicholas Latifi into turn 1, and McLaughlin is able to get through. And he's done it as McLaughlin, and he's through into P6. So 8 championship points coming in the way of John Munro's team. This is very much needed, given that the upgrade window opens after this race. Lap 46 done for race leader Joseph Newgarden. Matthew Rigonathan in P2, managing the gap. This is going to please team manager Will Knight. Will Bamber can just pull away from Rosenqvist now. Rosenqvist will just have to hope for a mistake from Bamber or a mechanical issue from Newgarden, Rigonathan or Bamber, who's to come away with the championship lead. Zhu Gunon is behind Fittipaldi in the fight for 12th position. And 13 made it to the checker flag in lead 2. This is going to be 13 making it to the checker flag in lead 1. Mick Schumacher is in 9th place on course for a couple of points. He's first in lead 1. Evans, in his debut in the GPWS, is about to get his first points, and we are seeing a couple of overtakes happening because Nasser got through on Ericsson and Gunon got through on Fittipaldi at the same time. So Nasser up into the points in 10th place, came very close to a podium last time out, did Nasser in Buenos Aires. His first point for the team, should he stay there. Ericsson will just miss out. Ollie Berman was the last driver to retire from this race up to this point. Trying to stay with his teammate. Now he's under threat from Zhu Gunon. Onto the back straight they come, and I think we're going to see an overtake from Gunon in a moment, who got through on Fittipaldi on the previous lap. But instead, I think we're going to see Nasser slowing down with an issue. He's just let Ericsson go through. Yeah, I think Nasser's encountered a problem here because he let his teammate through so easily, he didn't even fight it. Yeah, and Gunon and Fittipaldi are about to go through as well. I think Nazar's going to come into the pits to get a problem fixed because he's not going racing speed. And yeah, that's him into the pits with an electrical problem. But at least he can maybe try and snatch the fast lap away from Danny Kvyat, so keep an eye out on that. So Nazar is in for his third stop of the race. His chances of finishing in the top 10 are gone. And Newgarden comes up to lap him. Comes over the line. Nazar will rejoin the race. Behind Newgarden on track. At least he's in front of Ragunathan, which we won't have to bother with him about. Now Nazar has not needed to add any more fuel in, so we could actually see an attempt of fastest lap coming from him. Danny Kvyat's hold on the fast lap is at risk here, potentially. Through turn number 12. Newgarden has got 5 more tours of this racetrack, of which he adores so much. Twice a race winner in the Indy 500. He's about to become race winner here at Indianapolis to go with it, and he's first in the Grand Prix World Series. There's Bamber, there is Rosenqvist in 3rd and 4th. Just want to bring the cars home now. There's Newgarden. It's coming onto the back straight. And you can see Felipe Nasr in the background. He'll be trying to go for a fastest lap. Newgarden on his own. Untroubled. And these two are going to be very much in the fight for the championship with the way things are going, with how close the championship's going to be. At the moment, it's going to be Earl Bamber leading with 33 points. It's Dixon second on 30. Rosenqvist is 3rd on 30. Wyoming in 4th on 27, I believe. Or 25, rather. Newgarden is about to taste victory here. He's going to go level on points with Buemi and Ollie Behrman as well. So the top 6 in the championship is going to be very, very close after this. Felipe Nasr has not been able to get the fast lap yet. It looks like it's not going to be beaten with the way this car is up to it. Fiat's lap was very, very quick. From Mattel are going to get a point out of this at least. As our HRT are going to get 8. VAR look like they're going to get 24. And Oscar are going to get 3. Mitch Schumacher is less than 3 seconds behind Mitch Evans, but it looks like his time is about to run out unless we see any more drama in the final few tours of this race here at Indianapolis. What a performance it has been from Joseph Newgarden, who made an absolutely sensational start from 5th on the grid to get into the lead by turn 1. He's remained in contention since then. He hasn't put a foot wrong. You can see Bamber pulling away from Rosenqvist, and now we can see a fight for the last point here. Schulgunon getting through on Marcus Ericsson, and Gunon is going to keep his record of points finishes from the start of his career going by getting up into 10th place. At least Onyx are going to come away with a championship point after all. Jonathan in P2, so close to his first podium. Little to celebrate at 40. Over at BAR though, the team has put a lot of points on the power side of things, but it's going to pay off here this time after 2 non-scores in Brazil and Argentina. We see Newgarden through turn number 8. No one to worry about right now. Jonathan will just want to bring that car home. He'll be happy and delighted with second for making the one-stop strategy work. And the same for Earl Bamber in 3rd place. Joseph Newgarden has started the final lap of the race in the lead. Lakehouse are going to end the race winning drought by picking up their 9th Grand Prix World Series victory, and the first under the name of Joseph Newgarden here at the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A lot of mechanical problems, but it all settled down by around about half race distance. And McGunnathan is going to bring some delight for BAR. It's going to be their first podium since Sebastian Buemi, I think, took victory at Imola, unless I'm mistaken. But either way, it's going to be a phenomenal victory for Leighton House, with 2 drivers on the podium and are going to move into the lead of the team's championship. Joseph Newgarden is going to bring the American fans to their feet to witness someone who knows how to win around this famous circuit. Joseph Newgarden wins the League One Indianapolis Grand Prix. He is a race winner for the first time. Leighton House are race winners for the first time in a long time. The drought is over. Chris Cavaney, the team manager of the squad, can celebrate. And it's also celebrations for BAR, with Matthew Ragunathan coming home in 2nd place. What a drive by the Indian. Earl Bamber 3rd, ahead of Felix Rosenqvist. It's Bamber who leads the Drivers' Championship after 3 races. And Tony Felix da Costa will bring home some good points for Ed Spencer's Force India team in 5th. Scott McLaughlin in 6th for HRT. They move off the bottom ahead of Nicholas Latifi in 7th place, his first points of the campaign. Mitch Evans 8th, Mick Schumacher 9th, his first points of the season. And Schulgunon bagging another championship point, with Ericsson, Fittipaldi and Nazar the last of the finishers. It's victory for Joseph Newgarden for Leighton House at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Murphy Ragunathan 2nd for BAR. What a day for him and for team manager Will Knight. Earl Bamber 3rd for Leighton House. A brilliant day for them. Felix Rosenqvist in 4th. Antonio Felix da Costa in 5th. Scott McLaughlin bagging some important points for HRT in 6th. Nicholas Latifi 7th. Mitch Evans 8th for Manor. Then it's Mick Schumacher in 9th for Moscow Lola, and Schulgunon in 10th. Marcus Ericsson in 11th, followed by Petru Fittipaldi, and Felipe Nazar, who pitted in with a problem, is 13th and 1 lap down. Ollie Behrman, Sebastian Buemi, Kamui Kobayashi, Danny Kafia, who retired with a puncher, was running towards the top. Liam Lawson, Sebastian Bourdais, Jean-Luc Verne crashed out on the pit straight. Ollie Rowland, Scott Dixon, who probably would have won today had it not been for his loose wheel. Brendan Hartley, Shane van Gisbergen, Alexander Sims and Rafael Marciello were the rest to not finish. Pole position went to Scott Dixon and the fast lap point went to Danica Fiat in the Marscard Lola. It's a brilliant day for Leighton House. It's one they've been craving for some time, since they won in Kyalami last season with Sebastian Buemi. A new race winner for them, that is Joseph Newgarden. And that confirms that Leighton House are leading both the Drivers' and Teams' Championships after 3 races. The upgrade window is now open for the team managers to decide where their prize money is going to go towards. Is it going to be horsepower or is it going to be reliability? That is anyone's guess. In the meantime, it's time to look down on the Drivers' and Teams' Championships in League One, courtesy of Topher Smith, and I'll see you for the next round in Toronto in Canada.
Well, that will be a very popular victory in Indianapolis. The home favourite, Joseph Newgarden, takes his first ever Grand Prix World Series victory at his 3rd attempt. A huge congratulations to him and to Chris Cavendish and the Leighton House team. That's them off the mark in terms of victories this season. And what a better place for Joseph Newgarden to do it in his home race in Indianapolis, and he will be thrilled with that one. Mahavir Raghunathan also taking a famous maiden podium for himself, and BAR back on the podium for the first time in quite a long time, actually. Will Knight, I'm sure, very pleased with the progress of his driver there. But what has this done to the League One drivers' standings? Well, Earl Bamber, he hasn't won a race yet, but consistency has put him to the top of the standings. 2 podiums in 3 races, and he is on 33 points. 3 ahead of reigning champion Scott Dixon. Felix Rosenqvist on the same number of points as Dixon, but behind on countback. And then Joseph Newgarden's victory today has put him up into 4th in the standings. Sebastian Buemi and Oliver Behrman 5th and 6th, ahead of Mahavir Raghunathan, Jean-Eric Verne, Raffaele Marcello and Jules Gounon rounding out the top 10 in the drivers' standings. As far as the teams are concerned, Leighton House has shot to the top of the standings on 58 points, 17 ahead of Prost on 41, Arrows 1 further behind in 3rd on 40, Minardi on 36, Force India on 29, Simtech, BAR, Onyx, Manor and Pacific, 5 British teams all there together in the second half of the top 10. Formital, HRT and Marscard Lola have all now scored points as well, so every single team in League One has scored points in the first 3 rounds of the season, and we will now see how this is going to affect the order as the upgrade window comes about ahead of the next race in Toronto. Well, it has been another thrilling day of action here in the Grand Prix World Series. Indianapolis has certainly delivered 2 exciting events with 2 brand new race winners, and there'll be a lot of happy faces here today. We're looking forward to the next event, which will be at the street circuits in Toronto in Canada, which is sure to serve up another exciting portion of Season 4 of the Grand Prix World Series. Until then, thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Topher Smith. Take care.